Hey everyone, it's Casey, and today we're going to go through a deep stretching class, opening up the body for back bends. So we're not going to be necessarily doing super deep back bends in this, but we will be doing a lot of the prep work and necessary parts for being able to open up into deeper back bends. So think everything along the front side of the body, so chest, shoulders, all the way through the torso and all the way down through the hips and quads. So as we focus on the entire front side of the body and into that torso elongation, ultimately we're just looking to release, relax, and open. There are strengthening components that also play into back bends, but today it's just the releasing and the deep stretching. So all we're gonna need are 2 blocks and 1 strap. Okay, if you don't have a strap, you can use anything else. We just need to be able to rope up our foot in one position. So we're going to start off by taking a block with us. Make your way down onto your back. And we're going to come into a supported bridge shape to start us off. So begin to lift the hips, and you're going to take the block at one of the lower settings and just bring it underneath your sacrum. So as you place it on the back of the sacrum, nice and supported, you'll feel yourself relax over it. If it doesn't feel quite right, just reposition it until you find that sweet spot where that lower back can just release, open. And right now, especially, I want you to just kind of visualize how when we're standing or sitting or any activity day to day where our spine is upright, we're feeling that constant gravitational pull of our body down towards our hips and even all the way down into our feet. But for today, I want you to just imagine all that compression and tension that accumulates in the lower back is just slowly starting to melt out. With the hips supported, now getting kind of that reverse gravitational pull, melting from the hips down to the floor. And we're going to take a few breaths to help us fully drop into this space and to relax as best as we can. So let's meet at the bottom of an exhale. And then slow breath in through the nose. Really focus on expanding your entire body, not just your chest. Open up as much as you can. If you need more space, try to drop the breath down into the belly. Hold it. And just think about releasing all tension away as you open up your mouth and exhale, let it all the way out. Again, let's take a slow breath in through the nose. Expand open from the belly and let it gradually expand all the way up into the chest. Think the entire body is finding more and more space for the breath to expand, holding at the top any tension that lingers here. And then let's open up the mouth and exhale, sigh, and let everything melt out. One more time, but we're going to keep the breath through the nose. Slow inhale, fill up through the torso. Think breathing even down into the limbs. Feel the entire spine all the way up into the chest. Hold the breath. And then we're going to keep the breath through the nose. Really slow and steadily start to release the breath out. Empty out really slow, section by section, until the body is fully and completely emptied out. And then go ahead and take a few more of these on your own and just kind of start to feel that full expansion, that stretching of the lungs and the diaphragm, the ribs, and feel that full release and that kind of pushing out any last stagnation, residual tension. One more breath here on your own. Now you're going to keep your breath focused, but a little bit more relaxed. So you don't have to stretch it to its fullest capacity. I want you to drop back in effort. And then we're going to kind of shift from this position, but holding the general shape. So just kind of feel little movements in your fingers and your toes, and maybe give a little movement of your knees side to side if that's okay on your back. If you need to adjust the block, if it doesn't quite feel like it's in the right spot for the next movement, just readjust it. Right knee slowly lifts up towards the chest, hands wrap around the knee, the shin, or the thigh, and then start to pull that knee towards the chest. Now, hold it here as you begin to walk your left leg forward, extending it as much as you can and feeling this general heaviness down into the left heel. And then start to pull your right knee closer to your chest, still heavy in that left heel. And as you pull that knee closer and closer, you're going to notice more and more tension starting to build over the front of that left hip. Okay, so as you feel the left hip stretch, it might be good just to stay with that foot on the ground and just kind of holding that tension, deep breaths. Or it might feel nice to continue pulling in until the foot just slowly starts to float away from the ground on its own. Just by tipping that weight towards the chest, it frees up the weight of that left leg, and then you feel more of that gravitational pull and sinking over the front of that left hip. Give yourself a couple more breaths. It's okay at any point if the heel needs to touch back down, if it is lifted. Now, especially if you feel a lot of tension in a position, it's really easy to go back to those quick, short, shallow breaths. I want you to be conscious as you move through these positions by focusing your attention into your breath and giving yourself those really full, expansive breaths. Really think about bringing oxygen down into your hip. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Just let yourself release as much as you can. And even though you're using the arms to pull in, try to relax your face, your shoulders, your chest. Okay, and really slowly start to decrease the amount that you're pulling the knee in. Left foot settles down if it's not there already, and then release your right foot down to the floor. Let's walk the feet in so both knees are bent and either staying still, or if it feels good on the back or on the hips, you can sway the knees a little side to side. Sometimes having the hips elevated does not feel good to rock the knees, so if that's the case, just hang out, let yourself breathe. If you need to come out and come back in at any point, listen to your body. Otherwise, we're going to shift into the other side. Left knee starts to lift towards the chest, hands wrapping around the knee, shin, or thigh. And then as you secure that in, start to walk your right leg forward. Find as much extension as possible and a heaviness into the right heel. And as the heel drops heavy, start to pull your left knee closer and closer to the chest. Keep pulling in until you feel that right amount of tension build, whether the foot stays on the ground or you continue pulling the knee in and maybe the foot hovers right over the floor, heavy in your heel. You might even feel a little bowing over the front side. And then same thing as before, just try to soften all the muscles in your face. Soften the muscles of the shoulders. Use as little effort as you can. And then recognize the breath if it's shortened. And see if you can add more elongation and starting to produce more oxygen into the body. Bring it in, let the muscles slowly melt open with each breath. We're going to be here for about 3 more slow breaths. Don't worry about the count so much as just taking full breaths and feeling the full sensation of each breath. And then slowly ease out as the right foot touches the ground, and then gently melt the left foot down to the ground. Walk the feet in, and this time let's lift the hips and remove the block. Remove it out of your way and let the hips sink back down, and just take a moment to pause. And then from here, gently swaying the knees from side to side. Feel that release into the lower back. Twists always feel so nice after some good back bending. So, knees back to center. We're going to take a wide leg twist from our backs. Arms come out from the shoulders, out to the sides. And then separate the feet so they're a little wider than your hips. Think about mat's width apart. And I'm going to start by dropping the knees to the left side. And that way, visually, you can have a better demonstration when I get to a certain part, so it's easier to follow. So as the knees drop to the left side, already there's a nice natural lift in that lower right side of your back. Let it melt open. Staying here, or if it feels okay on the body, no extra force or strain, you can take your left foot and just rest it on top of that right thigh. I like this. It gives me a little assist, and it also feels so good in my body. Please listen to yours and take the variations that accommodate you today. Try to relax once again. Whatever is tensing up, I want you to try to soften by taking slower and deeper breaths. Once again, it doesn't have to max out your breath count or finding that full capacity, but just finding a fullness in your breath, a nice steady rhythm and cadence to allow the breath to help relax the body. About 5 more breaths. One more here, and then we're gonna transition slowly, but keeping the general shape. So if your foot did rest on top of the right thigh, just go ahead and bring it back down, okay? Now you're gonna take your right hand towards the ceiling, and then start to reach over to the left side as you roll up onto your left shoulder. So now you're kind of on your side. Now you're going to take your right fingertips. They don't have to walk straight forward in front of you. In fact, I kind of like to play with an angle and start to walk them almost diagonally back. Okay, you can play with the angle anywhere within that range. Just start to walk your fingers out, and as you do, imagine rolling your chest or top shoulder towards the ground and feeling a nice opening into your side body and into that hip and lower back. Now you can stay here, or with the top leg, that right leg, it can stay, or you can start to play with the angle on that right foot as well. Maybe you start to kick the leg straight out at that angle. Maybe you keep the knee bent and you walk the foot back and open up through the hip side. And just feel that kind of turning away from each other. So your chest is turning down and your hips are slowly turning open. Not over-exaggerated, but just feeling it here. Take another breath or so. Now walking that foot back in, walking the hand back in until you can roll your shoulders back to the ground, arm to the side, and then just swivel your knees to center. Okay, and we're gonna go right into the other side. So keep your feet about mat's width. Let the knees drop to the right side this time. And starting off with that first variation, either stay where you are, or this time maybe place your right foot on that top thigh, that left thigh. If at any point that creates tension in your knees or in your ankles or anywhere in your body, I want you to just come out of that variation. Relax all the tension that you can within your body. Imagine trying to just surrender into the shape you're in. 5 breaths. Slow it down as much as you can. One more breath here before we take it into that next variation. Okay. If the foot is still on top, go ahead and drop it down. Keep your legs tilted as they are. Now this time you're going to take your left hand up towards the ceiling, then roll up onto your right shoulder, and then take that left hand all the way down to the ground. Now same thing, play with the angles. Maybe your left hand walks back, the angle out to the side, or directly in front of you. But start to roll your chest down as you walk the fingers out. Then stay here, or with that top left leg, keep it as is, or you can slowly either just kick the foot back, keeping the knee bent, or work on straightening out the leg and playing with the angles there. Feel it out in your body, move slowly, and take deep breaths. Let's take a few more. One more deep breath. Walking the foot back in, walking the hand back in, roll the shoulders to the ground, arm to the side, and the knees come back to center. Let's hug the knees into the chest, and as you do, just sway a little bit side to side. Okay, so we're gonna do one more thing on our backs before we come up, or rather until we roll onto our bellies. So from here, you're gonna drop the feet, extend the legs out. We're gonna take banana pose. So for banana pose, the focus is gonna be just once again on that side body elongation, really getting into the torso today. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna lift up. Let's take the hands, interlace them behind the head, okay? Lift up through your head and your shoulders, and then you're gonna rock your shoulders over to the left side and then relax them back down. Okay, so both shoulder blades stay down on the ground. You're not rolling onto your side. You're just simply lifting the chest, shoulders, rotating, or rather shifting them over to the left, and then melting the shoulder blades back down. Now from here, you're going to take the hands above the head so the head can drop down, and then grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And then slowly start to pull it over to the left. You can keep the elbow bent on your right side, or you can work on straightening it out and reaching long through the shoulder side body, okay? Then start to walk your left leg over, maybe about 3 or 4 inches, okay? Play within that realm. And then keeping both sides of your glutes down on the ground, walk your right foot over. Feet can be side by side, there can be a gap of space between them, or if you want a little bit more of a lock, take your right foot and just cross it over the shin, maybe slide it down towards the ankle. If you need to, you can walk that left foot in a little closer to create a better lock. And just feel that opening all the way down your right side. You should feel it from your hip to your armpit, maybe down the arm and down the leg. If you feel none of those, just play with it a little bit and try to work yourself into the side body, Make sure your shoulders and your glutes are flat down to the ground and you're bending like a banana. You are literally in a banana shape. We're just going to give ourselves, let's say, 3 more breaths here. And then unhook the ankles, walk them back to center. And then release your right arm down to the side with the arms, and then walk your shoulders back into center. Okay, we're gonna do that on the other side, and then we'll hug our knees in to give ourselves that nice counter. So let's interlace the hands, bring them behind the back of the head, lifting your shoulders off the ground as best as you can. You're gonna rock the shoulders to the right side and then rest both shoulder blades back down. So your upper body is just kind of bent over to the right side. Shoulders flat, then let the hands go above the head so the head can lay flat, and then grab a hold of your left wrist. Shoulders and arms fall towards the floor if they can touch, okay? Bending the elbows helps a little bit with this. You can either just pull your left arm over to the right side to get that stretch, or you can work on straightening the arm, or just staying right where you are. Then right foot walks over, let's say about 4, 5, 6 inches. Then left foot starts to walk over, maybe hook the ankles, maybe just keep the feet resting side by side. Any little micro adjustments you need here, find them. Glutes are heavy on the ground, shoulders are heavy on the ground, and you just feel that nice spaciousness traveling down the left side. Soften what you can here, slow your breath. One more breath, really full. All right. Unhook your ankles if they're crossed. Walk the feet back in. Release your left wrist as you bend the elbows, arms to sides, and then walk your shoulders and your head back into center. Bend the knees, walk the feet in, and then pull the knees to the chest. I kind of like to tuck my tail under, really get that rounding of the back here, and then sway side to side. Okay, so if you need to reposition on your mat to see me better, you can always spin around to face the front of the mat, head forward, but we're gonna come onto our bellies. So all I'm gonna do is just roll over onto my chest. And then I'm gonna come up into a Sphinx pose so that my elbows are stacked directly underneath my shoulders. And make sure that you have your strap nearby here, okay? And in fact, let's make it a little bit easier. Let's grab our straps, undo them, or whatever it is that you're using. And all we're gonna do is you can come up to get it into this, or come onto your side, but you're just gonna take your feet, take it around your feet, okay? And then you're just gonna keep it off to the side as you roll back onto your hips, okay? So it's there. If you need to pull a little bit closer, you can, but it's over the feet right now. It's okay if it adjusts a little bit, but just general placement, okay? Elbows stacked underneath the shoulders, palms down, arms about shoulder width apart, okay? Now first, I want you to press into the ground and just lift up through the chest. Grip the ground with the hands and start to pull the ground towards you. And as you pull the ground in, legs are active just for a moment. And then go ahead and relax that here. Okay, we're gonna stay in this Sphinx pose for just a few more breaths, but I want you to this time just hold, and even though we are actively kind of dropping the shoulders away from the ears, I want you to try to relax into this position as much as possible. So you're only using the muscles you need to keep yourself lifted and supported without dropping your shoulders to your ears. I want you to keep lifted, but then relax everything else. Slow breath. Relax it all the way down the torso. One more breath here. Okay. Now, you're going to open up your eyes, open up that left elbow to the side, kind of like a kickstand, okay? So as you open up that kickstand, your right hand is going to reach back for both ends of the strap. And then you're going to keep your right foot in it, but take your left foot out, okay? Now, you're going to grab a hold of both ends of the strap so that as you reach back, it's almost as though you're holding a platter. Your palm is up and your thumb is kind of pointing back, okay? And then all we're going to do is we're going to start to pull and bend as much as we can through that right knee. So keep pulling in. We're going for the quad here, stretching the front side of those thighs. So you can kind of let the strap adjust so it comes up into a good place where you have good leverage, okay? Now, I'm holding the strap so it's over my shoulder, and I can kind of pull and adjust from here. Maybe it comes in super close, maybe it goes far away, okay? Now, from here, you can stay propped up if you want onto your elbows, okay? You can keep your right elbow bent and left arm down, Sphinx position here, okay? If that feels okay for you, you can do that. If you're needing a break from that being up onto your forearms, just go ahead and open up the elbows. You can stack your hand underneath your head or wherever it's comfortable and just relax yourself down into it. So it doesn't have to be strenuous. You can use minimal effort here. You can even hold with both hands and just kind of let the hands sink to the ground. Relax your head. Give yourself a few more deep breaths. Okay, and then slowly release the grip of your hands and just let your foot slowly come out. I want you to keep it looped around the foot as you open the arm to the side and then let the foot touch all the way back down. Okay, so if you did that on your right side and you're like, I didn't really feel anything, that wasn't deep enough of a stretch, okay, then chances are you need probably your hand to pull it in and to flip over the top. So I'll show you what that looks like here. My hand comes to the top, same thing. I reach back, palm up. I grab the inside of the foot, and as I pull it in, I can switch the grip over, okay? Staying up on your forearms does intensify it as well. So if you dropped all the way down, coming up onto the forearms is a nice step, okay? But I want you to use minimal effort. That's why I like using the strap on this one, okay? Well, I lost my foot on that one. But if you did, it's okay too. We're gonna switch sides, so you can take it over to the other side by just taking your left foot to the inside and doing a little switcheroo. Okay, right foot threads out, roll onto your belly, take it out to the side, okay? As long as it's above the knee, essentially you can get it up towards the foot once we get into the position. It's no biggie, okay? Now right elbow opens up like a little kickstand. Bend your left knee and let's reach back for the strap ends. And then we're going to make sure it wiggles all the way up to the foot. Holding onto the strap ends, left hand reaches back, palm up, thumb faces back, and start to pull it in and bring yourself forward, okay? Once again, if this is not quite enough, you can always reach back with the hand, hold it here, or work on flipping the grip, fingers over, and staying up on the forearm the entire time, okay? Then you can stay, breathe, try not to collapse into your shoulders, Or more relaxed here, you can drop yourself down. Make sure your knee isn't pulling away from the ground. It's still heavy on the ground. Full deep breath. Just a couple more here. And then we're going to open up the hands, let the foot slide until we can open the arm out to the side, and then just let it come all the way back. And then you can release the strap so it's no longer on either of your feet. Take it out to the side, and let's go ahead and just drop your hands underneath your head. Head falls down. Bend the knees and windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Okay, feet back down to the ground. So from our bellies, we're going to take one more shape. We're going to really open up the front side of our bodies. So I'm going to shift myself a little over to the left side of my mat so I can use that right side space. Right arm is going to reach to the right with the palm facing down, and we're going to really focus on opening up into the chest and shoulder on this one. So with the right arm to the side, left hand underneath the left shoulder, I'm going to bend into the left knee, and as I roll onto my side, I'm going to walk my right fingertips away until I find that nice little bit of space in my shoulder, and then let the head relax down. If the head doesn't relax to the ground, you can take a block underneath it for a little extra support. All right. So really focus on opening up the front side of the body here, okay? And as you open up the front side of the body, I'm going to adjust so it's a little easier for y'all to see me and what I'm doing here. So as you open up the front side of the body, imagine it's not just your chest and your ribs, but you're also kind of opening up the hips. Left arm can stay, or you can drop the left arm around into your lower back. Now, I will give one extra step just because it feels really, really nice if you're pretty open and ready for it. I don't want this to be something that's ever forced into the body, only if your body's like, yeah, that feels great, okay? If the hips are pretty open towards the ceiling, sometimes it feels good to take a bend into the right knee and have your feet almost like bridge position, right, or set up, where the feet are both flat on the ground and the knees are pointing up towards the ceiling, okay? But if that feels too much, just keep that right leg extended out. Wherever you are, take 3 more breaths. And then slowly take the left arm over. If your legs are both bent, extend the right leg out and then roll back over onto your bellies, your hips. And then we're going to go right into that other side. Scooting towards the other side of the mat, left arm reaches to the left. Right hand underneath the shoulder, bend your right knee, and as you walk the left fingertips away, roll over onto your side. Let the head relax down to the ground or use a block if needed. And same thing, work on pressing into your right hand or fingertips, opening up your chest, your ribs, your torso, and your hips. Maybe the right arm drops into your lower back. If you're really open here, maybe take a bend into your left knee, foot flat on the ground. Stay in the realm of nice fluidity in your breath, which will indicate your thresholds. Try not to hold your breath. Try not to force. A few more here. Nice. Right arm over. If you did bend your left knee, re-extend the leg. Slowly roll over onto your bellies and hips again. Take your time. Hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself back into a quick little child's pose. Hips towards the heels. Hands can stay forward or rest them back by your feet. Few breaths. All right, let's slowly make our way up into a tabletop position. And from tabletop, walk yourself to the back of the mat so there's plenty of space in front of you. And with all that space, we're gonna walk our hands forward. So keep the hips nice and aligned over the knees. Hands walk towards the top of the mat, however much you can walk them forward. Now, essentially, hands are shoulder width. If you need more space, separate the hands a little wider. And then just begin to melt the chest towards the ground. If it's too much tension on the shoulders, see if dropping the elbows helps here. Keep the heart melting. Maybe the forehead drops to the ground, maybe not. Maybe if the chest is pretty close to the ground, you can drop your chin. Give yourself about 5 slow breaths. We're opening up the chest, we're opening up the shoulders, we're opening up that upper back. Draping into the lower back. One more deep breath. Let's take one more for good measure. And then let's slowly make our way up. Tabletop position, hands and knees. We'll give ourselves a nice counter stretch here. Tuck your chin to your chest, round your tail under, curl your back. Give yourself a couple breaths. And then coming back into a nice neutral spine, making your way into a comfortable cross-legged seated position. I'm gonna face you. So from your seat, we're just gonna focus into the neck a little bit here. So let's start by interlacing the fingers, chin to chest, and just bringing the hands behind the back of the head. Elbows fall in towards either side of your face. And keep the rest of the spine long. It's just the chin towards the chest, so we're kind of isolating that stretch here, just into the neck. If it's too much to just let your arms fall dead or heavy, then you can keep a little bit of activation in them, but I want you to feel into that edge. Couple more breaths. And then you're gonna lift the chin up to center, okay? And then rather than just dropping the head back, I want you to slowly lift the chin up to the ceiling. Keep lifting the chin, hands are supporting the back of the head. And hold here, breathe a couple deep breaths. And then spine re-neutralizes, hands drop down to the sides. And then let's drop right ear to right shoulder. And with right ear to right shoulder, maybe the left fingertips reach out to the left and down, creating extra space through the side of the neck. Maybe the right hand rests on top of that temple and just creating a little extra weight. We're not forcing, especially when dealing with our necks. But try to relax as much as you can here. Let's take about 4 slow breaths. Hands come down onto the lap. Keep your head tilted to the right, but just look over your right shoulder. Looking forward, and then let's lift the head all the way back up to center, and then drop left ear to left shoulder, nice and slow. Maybe the right fingertips reach out to the right and down. Maybe your left hand reaches up and over on top of the head, resting around the temple. And then same thing, just try to ease yourself into this space, taking nice slow breaths. But if you need to back off, if there's too much tension or weight, I want you to back off. Be kind to your neck. Let's take one more breath. Hands to the lap. Keep your head tilted to the side, but just rotate your chin towards that left shoulder. So you're looking back over that shoulder. Looking forward, chin forward, and then lift the head all the way back up to center. Nice. Let's go ahead and we're going to do small circles just to kind of loosen it up. So as the chin drops to the chest, roll left ear to left shoulder, and then start to draw the chin towards the ceiling as you look up. And then right ear drops right shoulder, chin to chest. Reverse direction, roll right ear, right shoulder. Don't drop the head back, just start to look up as the chin starts to draw to the ceiling. And then lower left ear, left shoulder, and then chin to your chest. Lift the head all the way back up. Okay, last one we're gonna do is a supported fish pose. So with our supported fish, for the back of the heart, I'd suggest keeping the block nice and flat. But if you know you're really open, maybe you take it up one notch into that toaster setting, okay? The block is gonna go behind the back of the heart. I don't want it to push onto your shoulder blades. I want your shoulder blades to go right above it so it's right below them, okay? Think bra strap line. The second block is going to support your head, and I want you to fill the space between your head and the floor once you fully drop into it. So you don't have to set it up just yet, but take it with you. Okay, so with your legs, if you want, you can just let them extend out, you can butterfly them, you can cross them, or whatever you want to do with the legs is just fine, but I will give you an option if you want a little extra depth and it does not hurt your knees. Most important, if it hurts your knees or your ankles or your feet, please don't do it, okay? But if you do want the next variation, you're going to take a bend into the knees together, and you're gonna let your hips sink down to the floor, okay? Make sure the hips can sink onto the floor for this one because we're gonna need to recline back as well from this position, okay? Now, if you are taking this variation, it might feel better to actually have a little more lift with the back of the heart. Otherwise, keeping it flat is just fine, okay? But we don't want to put too much tension. So we might have to lift ourselves a little higher away from the ground if that's the case, okay? That's all it's doing. And the head will do the same. So you're going to slowly recline back from whatever position. I'm going to show here, but you can do any variation with your legs. Place the first block so it's right below the shoulders. Once again, it's not pushing into the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades are free. Okay, if flat feels too easy, then you can always level it up and take it on to that second level, okay? And then as the head spills back, you're gonna feel that point where your head kind of stops and it's like, oh, that's it, okay? I want you to take the block to whatever height you need to accommodate yourself and support your head in that shape, okay? Maybe your head goes below your heart, maybe it's lower, maybe it's higher, maybe it's at the same level, okay? Whatever feels best for you, I want you to take that. Arms can spill out to the sides or any variation. Slow your breath down and just focus on surrendering into this shape. If it feels overly tense, where you can't breathe smoothly or you feel tension in your neck, I want you to come out and readjust. I want it to feel good in your body. I want it to nurture your body. So full release, and you can always come out and readjust your legs or the blocks at any point. But we're gonna be here focusing on really just letting go. Let's take about 10 slow breaths. About 5 more. Just focus on releasing and letting go. You might feel yourself able to shift in a little bit more, or maybe your body's asking for you to back off a little bit. Listen. Listen to those little messages, the subtleties. One more really expansive breath. Really focus the breath expanding, especially into your heart, pressing into that block. And then releasing it out. Okay, we're gonna move slowly. The head is gonna lift to the chest. You're gonna walk up onto the elbows, walking them back, and then walk up onto the hands. And then slowly come forward and out. If your knees are bent like mine, you'll want to come forward and out, sweep the feet around, and then bring them around. And then go ahead and just let your body round over your legs. Let yourself release here. And then we're going to come up and we're going to take one last, this is Shavasana, okay? So that was really the last stretch that we're going to take. This is more of the release aspect. Now we're going to take both of our blocks and we're going to bring them maybe a little wider than our hips because we kind of want to play with the diagonal for this shape. And the blocks are going to help support the backs of the knees with the legs out. So we get a nice lift and release into our lower backs, okay? So as you come down onto the back, bring yourself into that shape where the legs can open wider than the hips, spilling off the mat, but we get that full support of the blocks. I like the blocks up on that halfway point, that toaster setting, but you can always have them flat down. That's perfectly fine too. Or if you don't like the blocks, you don't have to take them, okay? Arms rest away from the body. Try to slightly tuck the shoulder blades and just let the chest melt open. Let yourself feel fully open. We're going to take just a couple deep breaths to help us surrender into this shape. So let's meet at the bottom of the breath, release it out. Take a slow breath in, breathe into the belly, breathe up into the rib cage, and all the way up into the chest. Hold the breath at the top. Open up the mouth, exhale, let it all the way out. Slow breath in, gradually expanding and opening the breath throughout the body, picking up any last tensions, lingering and hiding in the body. And then open up the mouth and release them out. One more here. Slow breath in, digging from the roots all the way up. Gather, collect, hold. And then open up the mouth and just release it all the way out. Feel yourself relax. Feel yourself ease back into a bit of stillness, and this time without any strain, without any force, without any even need to feel tension or stretch, just the sensation of being, of letting yourself go. And give yourself a few minutes to just enjoy this space. Start to slowly deepen your breath and just feel that energy recirculating throughout your body. Little movements down into the fingers and toes. Movement into your wrists and your ankles and your head, letting it rock around. Arms stretch over your head, reach out through your legs. Maybe if you have the blocks, you can just press into them and lift your hips off the ground, which can feel really nice sometimes. And then the hips back down if they're lifted. Let's draw the knees to the chest. Arms wrap around the legs. Give yourself a couple sways. And then roll over to either side. Feel whichever side feels comfortable for you here. Using that top hand to gently press yourself all the way up. You can set your props away. Eyes closed, spine up nice and tall. Join your hands together at your heart center. And just take a moment to thank your body for all that it just did for you. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide today. Much love and much gratitude from me to you. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. I feel so good. I feel so open, and I hope that you do too. Let me know in the comments, share with a friend, and I'll be seeing y'all soon. Thanks so much.